Hi guys. For some of you that's watching, you may already know my story. For some of you this is your first time seeing my face, I'm currently 19 years old and I'm a victim of sexual assault and rape. When I was 4 years old until I was 14 years old, I was harassed, sexually assaulted, raped, and many more things. It starts off when my mother passed away. I was 4 years old. Now, for the safety of anyone involved in this story, I'm going to change the names. So let's call the rapist Rob. So Rob took interest in little girls. Rob was a grown man. I was always Rob's favorite person. Rob didn't take interest in anyone else. So Rob took it upon himself to come into my room one night. And Rob saw that I couldn't sleep. So he came in, started playing with my hair. So after playing with my hair, he moved on to my shoulders. And after my shoulders, he moved in my pants. And he told me, "Don't tell anyone of what I'm about to do." And I said, "What? Don't tell anybody of what? What are you talking about?" And he said, "Don't tell anyone of what I'm about to do. Do you promise?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay. What? I don't know what you're talking about." And he started to perform oral sex to me. I was young. I was about 4 or 5. That's all I can remember. And he heard a noise in the next room and he got scared, pulled up my pants, pulled the sheet over me, and walked out. For 2 years after that, 2 or 3 years after that, is when he first raped me and penetrated me. And for those 2 or 3 years, it was just more of so him either trying to get his feel on me, putting my hands in his pants, making me play with his private parts, stuff like that. So when I was 7 years old, like I said, he penetrated me. He forced my face into the pillows and took me from behind and raped me. And he told me that everything was going to be okay, to not fight it. The more that I fought it, that the more it would hurt. And I listened to him. And he told me that the more that I cried, because I cried, begged, and screamed for him to get off me, he said the more that I cried, he was going to do 10 times worse of what he was doing to me, to someone that I cared about. So I automatically stopped and laid there, stuck. I couldn't do anything. I didn't want anything of what was happening to me to happen to anyone else, let alone somebody that I cared about. It felt like hours, and it lasted like 10 minutes. And it felt like hours. After that, I went straight to the bathroom and cried and cried and cried. I didn't have the courage to tell anyone of what happened. I felt isolated. I felt ashamed. I felt horrible. And it got to the point after being raped by him so many times that I didn't even want to shower. I didn't want to shower because I felt so disgusting. Like, you would think that because I felt disgusting, I wanted to shower, but it was like he made me feel so low to the point where I felt like I didn't even deserve to be clean. I didn't deserve to be anything than less of what he made me. Like, I deserved what I got. I deserved to be raped. I deserved to feel disgusting. I deserved to be less of human. So it was always when me and him were alone and nobody else was around, he would force me to perform oral sex. He would force me to have sex with him. He would hold down my arms against the bed and force himself on top of me and thrust himself on top of me. And it was it was horrible, and I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. And I couldn't build up the courage to tell anyone what I had been through until I was 10 and in 4th grade. And when I was in 4th grade, me and my friends were in the lunchroom, and it was an after-school program. And they asked something about I remember it was a game we were playing, and they asked if anyone had been touched or if anyone had been raped, something like that. And I told them that I have. That Rob did what he did to me. And the break was over, and we went back upstairs to our classroom. And the friend that I had confided in and told, she told the teacher. And the teacher pulled me out of the classroom, and there was a poster of a little girl on the wall. And she told me, she asked me, she said, Ruth, that's my name. My name is Ruth. She said, where on this poster has anyone touched you? And I said, nowhere. What are you talking about? Don't ask me that. Who are you to ask me that? And she was like, it's okay to tell me. The girl already told me. Don't cover for anyone. Why are you covering for anyone? Just tell me. You can trust me. And when she said, you can trust me, I broke down in literal tears because I felt like I couldn't trust anyone at that point, because the only people that I did trust broke my trust and told her. And I told her, I said, everywhere. And she said, are you sure? And I said, yes, I'm sure. And they called the police, they called DYFS, they called everyone. And I sat downstairs in the school for hours and hours and hours. And after that happened, they filed a report and everything. They took me to a foster home. And in that foster home, it was real nice. It was a mom, a dad, and a brother. And I had my own room, which was something that I wasn't used to. So I was happy. I stayed there for about a week. And after, they put me back with Rob. And the reason they put me back is because nobody believed what I said. I told everyone, I told family, I told everybody, and no one believed what I said. And everyone looked at me like I was a liar, like I betrayed everyone, like I wasn't looking out for myself, like I was just wanted all this attention and just made up lies, when it wasn't like that. I was telling the truth, and I was fighting and fighting. I was fighting for my truth to be heard, and no one believed me. So they put me back with Rob, and it continued to happen, and nobody believed me. So for two to three more years, I continued to be raped. And it wasn't, at that point, I didn't have no energy. I didn't have the willpower to continue to fight for myself. And I gave up. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who else to tell. And I told, after being in the programs like DYFS and everything, I got to a point where I thought to myself, I said, is this just one big nightmare? Like, did I truly go through this, or did I make this up in my head? Am I delusional? Am I mental? because it got to the point where everybody kept calling me a liar and everything, to the point where I started to believe it. I started to question myself. And it was one last time that I remember this perfectly. Being the fact that I thought that I was going crazy, he called me into his room, told me to lay with him, and I laid with him. And he told me, he said, I want to touch you again, but I'm afraid that you'll tell on me. And I lost it. I got out the bed, I cried, and I called the one last person that I believed would believe me. And she told me, everything is going to be okay. You can come live with me. This is all going to be over with. And I told the system, I said, this person said I could live with them. I want to go with them. Rob didn't care. Rob said, you want to leave? Leave. I don't care. I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't care. He said, I didn't want nothing to do with you. Just leave. If you want to leave, leave. Keep my name out your mouth and go. And I did. And I left. And I stayed with this person for, I think, a year or so. And the situation got so bad with this person I was living with that I couldn't be there anymore. And I cried out to Rob, and I told Rob my situation, and I knew I shouldn't have done it. I knew that it was going to be 10 times worse if I went back. But I went back, and I stayed there for a good, I think it was like a year or so. And then Rob, I was in the car with Rob, and I was in the front seat, and Rob put his hand on my leg, on my inner thigh. And I was in shock that he tried it again, because I thought he was a changed man. I thought that he was a new person. And he wasn't. He was the same man that he's always been, the same sick, delusional man. And I called the person that I was with, and I said, I can't, please take me. I can't be here anymore. And I went back to live with that person. And then from living with that person, I ran away because that person kept me captivated. I ran away, and the system found me at, let's say, Christopher. They found me at Christopher's house. They took me from Christopher's house, and they put me in a resource home. And for you who don't know what a resource home is, it's basically like an emergency foster home, but where you can't stay for a long period of time unless they choose for you to stay there. So they put me there, and from there I ran away again, and I got put into my first shelter. And from my first shelter, I stayed there for 30 days. And then from being there for 30 days, I went to another shelter in Newark. And I was there for, I think it was like 2 months, because from 30 days, usually you're in a shelter for 30 days, and they usually try to find somewhere for you to go, and they still haven't found somewhere for me to go, so they asked to extend my stay. Now, when they extended my stay, I had visitations with, let's call her Maria. I had visitations with Maria, and Maria would pick me up, and she would take me for like 2 to 3 hours and then bring me back. So one day on visitations with Maria, I went to see a couple of family friends, and Rob was there. And Rob took me and my friend, he dropped me, and my friend got in the car, and I knew I didn't want to get in the front seat, because I knew if I was in the front seat and me and him got a chance to be alone, he would try something. I offered to sit in the back seat with my friend, and he said, no, sit in the front seat. I didn't want to put a big argument. I sat in the front seat. He dropped off my friend, and it was just me and him. So on the route of him taking me back to Maria, he pulled into this weird road by like recycling stuff. I don't know what it was. And he stopped the car. and he put his hand on my inner thigh, and I immediately froze. At this moment in time, I was in shock, and I didn't know what to do, so I couldn't move. And I cried, and he saw the tears coming down my face, and he was telling me, I missed you. I couldn't be away from you for so long. I missed you. And he saw me crying, and he saw that I took no interest, and I was stuck. And he said, fine, I see how you are. I see how you've changed. And he started the car, pissed off, and drove off, dropped me off, and sped off the street. He damn near took the whole street with him of how fast and mad he was driving. I went back. I didn't tell Maria. I called the person that I was dating at the time, and I explained to them everything that happened. I broke down crying. And then Maria came in. She saw me crying. I told Maria. And I begged her not to do anything about it. I begged her not to go to him or say anything. And she didn't. She respected my wishes, and she didn't do anything about it. She took me back to my program, my shelter. And that is the last time that he physically tried to touch me or try to do anything with me. Then from that shelter, I went to my first group home in Somerset. And there I still had visitations with Maria. So when I would go to Maria's house, it was in the same city, so I knew I was going to bump into him eventually because I had to go see family and friends. So I knew I was going to see him. So whenever I saw him, I didn't have no hate towards him, believe it or not. I don't hate anyone. I didn't hate him. I didn't wish anything bad upon him. Nothing. I didn't even want him to get jail time. Even then, even if I tried to put jail time, nobody believed me. He stayed in jail for one day. One day. While when they called the police and everything, he stayed in jail for one night. And because they didn't believe me, they released him. And he was walking a free man, a rapist, walking around like nothing ever happened. And then from this first group home, I stayed there for a year. Then from the group home, I went to an independent living home in Bridgewater. And then from there, I came to live with a family friend. And then from a family friend, I went to living with my ex-best friend. And then from living with my ex-best friend, I was staying in hotels. And then from staying in hotels, I was building up and saving up to get my own apartment. And now I'm in my own apartment. So my story is a lesson to you people, women, men, children out there, that no matter what you go through, it's up to you. It's up to you to get your stuff together, yourself together. It's up to you to have the belief in yourself that you can actually do something greater than what you've been through. You can achieve higher goals than the worst of the worst that you've been through. I believed that I couldn't do anything. My depression, my anxiety, my PTSD, my eating disorders, they all failed me. They made me think that I was horrible, that I was less than human, just like him. Less than human. I couldn't do anything that I put my mind to, that I was basically trash on the floor. And now look at me in my own home, doing the best that I can do for myself. I still have depression and anxiety, PTSD, and my eating disorder, but I'm working on it day by day. I have wonderful workers by my side. I have wonderful people by my side. Wonderful people. I have the best support system that I could ever ask for. So you can do anything you put your mind to. Your depression, your anxiety doesn't make you who you are. You have thick skin. That's okay. You do what you put your mind to. You can do anything. if you believe in yourself. You can get far in life if you believe in yourself. You're not that girl who got raped. You're not that girl who was sexually assaulted, man who was sexually assaulted, men that got raped. What you've been through doesn't define you. Being raped doesn't define who I am. Being assaulted doesn't define who I am. But overachieving that makes me who I am. Being stronger made me who I am. And surprisingly, everything that I've been through molded me into this person that I am today. And I am thankful and grateful that I got put into these systems, because they taught me how to be a better person. They lined everything up for me. So when I got to the point of being alone, that I can do everything by myself, that I can learn from them, and I could take everything from them and pull from everyone, everything that I've learned, and do it on my own, and do it to the best of my ability. And that's the moral of my story here today, that you can do anything you put your mind to, and that being raped and being assaulted does not define who you are. It doesn't make you, and it doesn't break you. It builds you to be a better person. It builds you to want to do the best that you can for you, your family, your loved ones, your cat or dog. It doesn't matter. You are who you are. And I am who I am. And nobody could be a better you but yourself. So that was my story. And I hope this helped someone out there feeling comfortable enough to tell their story. So thank you.